Africa remembers its stories. It remembers the footsteps pressed into red earth, the voices carried by harmattan winds, and the truths whispered beside evening fires. In places where drums once spoke before words, every life became a tale, and every heart carried history. Long before the village of Arua learned how to sleep peacefully at night, there lived a young woman named Nalia. People said her name sounded like morning rain, soft and hopeful. But anyone who truly knew her understood that hope had long left her heart. She walked with calm steps, spoke with careful words, and carried her thoughts like sealed doors never opened, never shared. Nalia did not believe in love, not because she was cold, not because she hated people, but because she had seen too much, heard too much, and buried too many silent fears inside her chest. In Arua, stories traveled faster than the wind. They passed from firewood sellers to palm wine drinkers, from mothers grinding pepper to children chasing goats at sunset. And almost every story about love ended the same way, with tears. Broken homes, loud arguments, or graves covered in red dust where promises once stood. Nalia grew up watching her parents exist like strangers under one roof. Her father, Boko, was once a gentleman who sang while carving wood under the mango tree. Her mother, Senna, used to laugh so loudly that neighbors complained and smiled at the same time. But love, like neglected fire, slowly died. Shouting replaced laughter. Silence replaced warmth. Plates broke. Doors slammed. Some nights, Nalia heard her mother cry quietly, as if afraid even the walls would judge her pain. When her father finally left one early morning without farewell, the village pretended not to notice. But Nalia noticed everything. She noticed the empty stool, the unfinished carvings, the way her mother's shoulders bent as if carrying invisible weight. She noticed how her aunt married with celebration and returned years later thin and quiet, her eyes older than her face. She noticed how her neighbor disappeared after trusting the wrong man, leaving behind children who asked questions no one answered. She noticed how girls her age dreamed of weddings while secretly fearing them. So Nalia made a vow quietly, deeply, without witnesses. "I will not marry," she told herself. "I will not give my heart to something that destroys." As she grew older, suitors came. Farmers with strong hands, traders with sweet tongues, even a teacher from the next town who promised comfort and peace. She turned them all away with polite smiles and firm refusals. Soon, whispers followed her footsteps like stubborn flies. "She is proud. She thinks she is better than us. Something must be wrong with her." Nalia did not explain herself. Explaining pain never healed it. But Arua was not an ordinary village. At the edge of the land stood Iroko Hill, a place elders warned children never to climb at night. They said shadows moved there without bodies. They said the wind sometimes spoke names. Some claimed love offerings made there could turn sweet or deadly. Even grown men avoided its path after sunset. One evening, as the sun bled into the earth and the sky turned the color of ripe palm fruit, Nalia went to the stream near Iroko Hill. She preferred the quiet there. As she fetched water, she felt a strange presence, like unseen eyes watching without blinking. Then she heard footsteps. She turned sharply. A young man stood a few steps away. Tall, calm, dressed simply, with eyes that seemed to hold stories untold.
His name, he said, was Taran. I did not mean to scare you, he silently. Something about his voice unsettled her, not fear, but recognition, as if her spirit had heard it before. Perhaps in a dream she had forgotten. Taran was not from Arua. He came from beyond the Red Plains, where stories were carried by drums, not whispers. He spoke Lisan Mordi and Nevansers. He never asked why she was alone. He never spoke of marriage. They met again and again. Sometimes at the stream, sometimes on the dusty road at dusk. He never chased her or never pushed.
He treated her like a story he was patient enough to read slowly, page by page. But Nalia noticed strange things. Dogs barked when he passed, then went silent. Children stared, then smiled without knowing why. Once, during a heavy storm, she swore she saw him standing in the rain dry. Rumors began to crawl through Arua. He appears only near the hill. They say he talks to the wind. No one knows his family. Fear tried to rise in Nalia's chest, but something stronger held it down. Curiosity mixed with a feeling she had buried long ago. One night, Arua was shaken by terror. Screams tore through the dark as villagers claimed a shadow moved through homes, touching sleeping couples. By morning, 3 marriages had ended in violent arguments, secrets exposed like open wounds. Words spoken could not be taken back. The elders whispered in fear, "The spirit of broken love has returned." Nalia's heart pounded not from fear for herself, but from a sudden thought of Taran. She found him waiting at Iroko Hill, standing where moonlight met shadow. "You should not be here," she said. "I know," he replied. That night, under a moon that looked like a watching eye, Taran spoke the truth. He was not fully human. Long ago, he said, love was guarded by spirits beings who watched how humans treated it. When love was abused, betrayed, or forced, darkness grew. The shadow, haunting Arua, was born from such pain, fed by broken vows and silent suffering. "I was sent to stop it," Taran said. "But I cannot, unless someone who has truly lost faith chooses to believe again." Nalia laughed bitterly. "You chose the wrong person." But when the shadow appeared twisting, whispering names of women who had cried in silence, Nalia stood frozen. The air grew cold, the wind screamed. The shadow spoke her mother's name. Something broke open inside her. Not love, not romance, but courage. She stepped forward, trembling. "I don't believe love is perfect," she said aloud. "But I believe fear should not decide our future." The shadow screamed, shrinking as dawn crept closer. As morning arrived, it faded, dissolving into the earth like a bad memory finally released. Taran smiled sadly. "My time here is over." Nalia felt pain she had never allowed herself to feel. "You changed me," she said. "No," he replied. "You chose yourself." When Taran disappeared, the village changed. Slowly, couples spoke more. Women found strength, men listened. Nalia never chased love, but she no longer feared it. Years later, when she met another man-human, imperfect, honest, she remembered Iroko Hill and smiled. Because love, she learned, was not a curse, fear was. And sometimes, the past is only a shadow until you decide to face it.